In a completely undeveloped economy, trade does not exist. Everyone is entirely self-sufficient. People only consume what they can hunt or forage themselves, and because of that total isolation, living standards remain exceptionally low. To escape that cycle, societies rely on business activity. This is the organized effort to take scarce factors of production and combine them to produce goods and services that actually satisfy human needs and wants. This diagram shows the transformational process at the heart of that activity. An operations department takes basic inputs, land, labor, capital, and enterprise, and converts them into finished outputs that consumers are willing to buy. However, a business cannot function if its revenue only covers the price of its ingredients. Imagine spending $50 on raw wood, glue, and nails, and then selling the finished chair to a customer for exactly $50. At that point, the company has $0 left over to pay the carpenter who built the chair. To stay in operation, a business must find a way to make the finished product worth more than the raw materials that went into it. That specific increase in worth is called added value. It is defined as the difference between the final selling price of a product and the cost of the materials bought in to make it. Subtract the material cost from the customer's price, and you are left with a financial gap. This gap pays for every non-material operating cost, from employee wages to factory rent. Profit is strictly the tiny slice remaining only after those expenses are fully paid. If the operating costs eat up the entire gap, the business breaks even. If they exceed it, the business fails. Continuously expanding this added value margin is the central objective for any operations manager. There are two main strategic levers a business can pull to expand that margin. The first is to increase the selling price of the product while keeping the cost of materials identical. Take a high-end jewelry store. The raw gold and gems have a fixed cost. To justify charging a premium price, the business invests heavily in luxurious store design, beautiful packaging, and highly knowledgeable sales staff. They are relying on a unique selling proposition, or USP. By making the product feel exclusive or superior in quality, they increase the perceived benefit in the eyes of the consumer. But raising prices carries a severe consumer risk. If the market looks at the product and rejects the idea that it has premium quality, the business will see its sales volume plummet. There is also a hidden operational risk. Decorating a shop to look luxurious and hiring experienced staff inherently increases your other running costs. You might widen the added value gap, but your overhead could consume the difference, threatening your profit. Pulling the price lever only works if you successfully convince the buyer that the benefits match the price tag. The second lever approaches the equation from the bottom, drastically reducing the cost of bought-in materials while keeping the final customer price exactly the same. Think of a construction firm. If they negotiate aggressive bulk discounts with suppliers or source cheaper materials, they widen their margin downward without asking the homebuyer to pay more. This is where operational efficiency becomes critical. Even without switching suppliers, a factory that minimizes waste on the production line will naturally lower the amount of material it uses per unit. However, substituting cheaper components introduces a major product risk. Lower-priced materials frequently result in an end product that feels flimsy, unreliable, or noticeably worse than before. This forces a dangerous question. Will customers continue to pay the original price for an item they now perceive as inferior? Once the consumer realizes the quality has dropped, they may stop buying entirely. Cost-cutting is a viable strategy, but only if it protects the product's fundamental appeal. Every day, millions of these transactions take place, with businesses constantly seeking new ways to turn raw inputs into more valuable outputs. When evaluating these strategies in an exam, your success depends on whether the approach actually fits the specific type of business in the question. A luxury star cruiser manufacturer adds value entirely differently than a basic water bottling plant. The cruiser relies on prestige branding and the price lever, while the bottling plant survives almost exclusively on high-speed cost efficiency. You also need to protect your marks by remembering that added value is not the same thing as profit. This diagram compares two operations. A business can successfully add massive value to its materials, but if it is crushed by high factory rent and massive advertising expenses, it will still fail to generate a single dollar of profit. Mastering how a business manipulates its inputs and outputs through these two levers gives you the tools you need to evaluate its survival and ace your exam.